Welcome to MTG friends, my zealots, my cohorts. Let's get ready to rumble with Kaalia of the Vast. Alright, so Commander deck tech for Kaalia of the Vast. This is a super janky fun flyer that lets us get angels, demons, and dragons out of our hand attacking. Whenever Kaalia of the Vast attacks an opponent, you may put an angel, demon, or dragon creature card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped and attacking that opponent. So our build is going to be around this mechanic, and then of course we're going to have some additional spicy stuff like control and the usual ramp type stuff and all of that shenanigans. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and talk about the packages. Holy shnikes. All right. Control, of course, the Kaalia cohorts, which are going to be those beefy bodies. We're going to get onto the playfield. We got some ramp, a little ramp combo piece, life combo piece, some tutor going on, graveyard protection, draw, the land package, removal, full-on combo piece, the Entomb combo. It's a tiny little combo. And, of course, we have the maybe board, sideboard for any swaps, any budgetary considerations. As usual, the land package can be swapped out significantly for some of those higher costing, financial costing cards. And we'll talk about that once we get there. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Like I said, a lot of this is going to be about teasing out those fairly high mana costing dragons and demons and angels with the Kaalia of the Vast mechanic. But mid game, late game, we're going to even be able to just drop those onto the playfield without the commander support. But of course, it'll be even better if we got the commander out there, keeping her alive, smacking face, making fun stuff happen. All right, as usual, if you are new to the channel, please hit subscribe, hit the like button, hit the alerts, and if you are a subscriber, thank you, 2 thumbs up. Make sure you still hit the like. It helps us with the algorithm beast. Feed the beast. Feed the beast. All right, let's jump into the control package. So we have just a few pieces. This one is a great one in red. It's Deflecting Swat. If you control a commander, you may cast a spell without paying its mana cost. You may choose new targets for target spell or ability. This includes if somebody's doing a counter spell, you can counter the counter spell with this, redirect it at itself. Boom, poof, thin air. Yep. That's one of the coolest parts about Deflecting Swat. You can, of course, do other things with it, like redirect a buffing spell onto your own and removal back to theirs, etc., etc., etc. So Dualcaster Mage, same thing, but in the form of a body. When Dualcaster Mage enters the battlefield, copy target instant or sorcery spell. You may choose new target for the copy. Grand Abolisher is a really great white mechanic for protection, slows down the board on your turn. During your turn, your opponents can't cast spells or activate abilities of artifact creatures or enchantments. Very nice white spell. Regardless of whether you're doing this deck or another deck, Grand Abolisher is a huge consideration in white. Orum's Chant, you may or may not be familiar with this one. It's a 1-drop. Target player can't play spells this turn. If you pay the kicker cost, creatures can't attack this turn. If you need to slow down the board from keeping your opponents from attacking you for a turn to really set up the kill, that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to just make it so he can't play spells. Keep in mind, if they've already played a spell, they have priority. It's on the stack. If you play this, it's not going to counter that, but it will make everything past that not happen. Target player can't play spells once this card resolves. All right, clear as mud. All right, Praetor's Grasp, a very nice black mechanic utility spell. Search target opponent's library for a card and exile it face down. Then that player shuffles his or her library. You may look at and play that card for as long as it remains exiled. What I really like about this card is the fact that you don't actually have to show it to them. You go snake a card out of their library, you put it face down. So it's going to be a surprise for them, and it's probably going to be a pretty powerful one because you're going to go try to remove something that is maybe a combo piece or something that you can really use next turn or same turn for that matter. All right, next up is Silence, similar to the other one where your opponent can't cast spells this turn, and notice it even says it on the card. Spells cast before this resolves are unaffected. Makes sense. Yes. So basically, as long as there isn't anything else on the stack before you play it, they can't play anything out afterwards. Blah, 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 blah. Yes. Moving on. All right, now we are into the tutors. We're not running a whole lot of tutors, but we're running the spicy, snaky, great ones. All right, Demonic Tutor is a 2-drop. Search your library for 1 card and put it in your hand. Boom. Yeah, doesn't get much better than that. Enlightened Tutor, this is a sorcery or an instant. No, not a sorcery or instant. That would be the blue one. This is an artifact or enchantment. Yes. Whew, I'm not even editing that out. And then you put it on the top of your library. Gamble is the red version. You search your library for a card, put it in your hand, then you discard a card at random. So you're playing a little bit of gambling. Haha. See what I did there? Yes. All right. And then you got a chance of having to dump something or the very same card you just got. But, you know, depending on how many cards you have in your hand, that's going to be less and less likely. All right, Imperial Seal. Yes, I know. This is a ridiculously expensive card. Run it if you got it. Don't run it if you don't. Search your library. You lose 2 life. Put it on top of your library. A card, of course. You know, you can certainly run something that's a 4-drop black tutor or whatever. Whatever, man. But it's a great card. We're putting it in. We're putting it in, man. Opposition Agent. Oh, this is just such a fantastic card out of Commander Legends. It's got flash. You control your opponents while they search their libraries. While an opponent is searching their library, they exile each card they find. You may play those cards for as long as they remain exiled, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color to cast them. In simple terms, as you've seen in some of our other previous episodes, because I really, really like this card, you take control of when they're tutoring, and then you get to grab those tutored cards, put them aside for you to play later, whether or not Opposition Agent is in play or not. That is just incredibly powerful and a very huge swing in the game. Definitely consider running this card. Ranger Captain of Eos, 3-drop 3/3. When it enters the battlefield, you can search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost 1 or less. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. I mean, we have a couple of 1-drop utility creature cards in here, and that's why we have this in here. Sacrifice Ranger Captain of Eos. Your opponents can't cast non-creature spells this turn. Double duty. This thing is great. All right, Vampiric Tutor. You tutor up, put it on top of your library. All right, we're going to blast through the lands real quick. Ancient Tomb, tap for 2, does 2 damage. All right, we got the fetch lands in here. Fetchy Fetcherson. We got the original gangster lands, the duels. Swap them out if you don't have them. Bring in other dual lands or dual lands that come in tapped. You don't have to run the regulars. All right, we got some shock lands and more fetchies. Cavern of Souls is mainly in here because if there are certain creatures in here like angels that you just want to make sure they don't get countered, you can go ahead and do that. So we have a fair amount of angels, but then we have also the demons and the dragons. But we probably have angels the most out of this. All right, Command Tower. Yep, you know what it is. You know why you run it. Emergent Zone. This is if we need to have some flash for one of our creatures. This is a great utility card. You can easily swap this out for just a regular basic land or another utility land of your choice. Exotic Orchard, you get a color of your opponent's mana base. Flagstones, yep, you know, it's a plains. If it gets destroyed, you get to go fetch up a plains. Yes, a rebob. All right, more fetch. More shock, more, this is a filter land. You know, you can play it for black or for red and add black, red, or red. There you go. Mana fixin' at its finest. All right, this is one of those cool ones where if you have more than 2 opponents, comes in untapped. So if you're playing 1v1, swap these ones out for regular basics. Mana Confluence, pay 1 life, get a color of your choice. Marsh Flats, another fetch land. All right, we're running 2 mountains, 1 plains, the plateau. Yep, Another original dual land. More fetch and more shock. We're running the Triome, and that's because I really like the Triome. So it's got the colors of our commander, comes in tapped, or you can cycle it if you need to. Cycle it for 3. More fetch and more dual. And then we have Spire of Industry. We are playing a handful of artifacts, so this will likely come in useful. Pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Activate this ability only if you control an artifact, which you most likely will. We're running 4 swamps, and the reason is because we are tilted more towards black than the rest of the colors. Vault of Champions, another one of those where as long as you have 2 or more opponents. Verdant Catacombs, another fetch, another fetch, another fetch. Now we have Kaalia cohorts, and we're going to have either angels, dragons, or demons, and we're starting it with some angel action. Archangel, Avacyn, 5-drop, 4/4, flying, vigilance, and flash. When Archangel Avacyn enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain indestructible until end of turn. When a non-angel creature you control dies, transform Archangel Avacyn at the beginning of the next upkeep into this nasty little angel beast. So whether it's the white version or the red version, you got a serious angel on your hands. Love it, love it, love it. Moving on to Aurelia, the war leader in red white. Flying, vigilance, haste. When Aurelia, the war leader, attacks for the first time each turn, untap all creatures you control. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. That is very janky, especially with our commander, which is going to be able to tease out yet another creature out of our hand if you have it in your hand. And then we have another Avacyn, and this is Angel of Hope. This is a very spendy one in terms of mana, but that's why we're going to tease it out with our commander, hopefully. It's an 8/8 flying, vigilance, indestructible. Other permanents you control have indestructible. Now, our first dragon of the group is Balefire Dragon. Whenever Balefire Dragon deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to each creature that player controls. So if anybody's gone wide on you, this is most likely going to be a serious mass removal for them, which is super fun for us. Burning-Rune Demon out of Kaldheim, a new kid on the block, Demon Berserker, 6/6 flyer. Whenever Burning-Rune Demon enters the battlefield, you may search your library for exactly 2 cards not named Burning-Rune Demon that have different names. If you do, reveal those cards. An opponent chooses one of them, put the chosen card into your hand and the other into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. So many words on these cards now. Holy moly shamoles. Now, this is doing 2 things. We have some reanimation spells, which we'll get to in a little bit. So we can also tease things back out of our graveyard, depending on what they throw in. And then we also get an extra card. We likey a lot. All right, Doom Whisperer, Flying Trample, pay 2 life, Surveil 2. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, then put any number of them into your graveyard and the rest on top of your library in any order. Yep. And it's a nice 6/6 flyer. So we're doing lots and lots of flying. Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight, flying first strike. If a source would deal damage to an opponent or a permanent an opponent controls, that source deals double that damage to that player or permanent instead. Booyah! If a source would deal damage to you or a permanent you control, prevent half that damage rounded up. Booyah! 2 times. What? That's right. Hellkite Tyrant, Flying Trample. Whenever Hellkite Tyrant deals damage to a player, gain control of, that's right folks, all, as in ALL, all artifacts that player controls. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 20 or more artifacts, you win the game. If you somehow manage to end up with that many artifacts, 2 thumbs up, kudos to you. Moving on. Lord of the Void. I wish I had a really low, bombastic voice to make that sound even more sinister. 4 black, 7/7 flyer. Whenever Lord of the Void deals combat damage to a player, exile the top 7 cards of that player's library, then put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield under your control. Next up, because that needs no more explanation. All right, let's really discuss this one for a second. Master of Cruelties. It's a 5-drop. First strike, Death Toucher. Master of Cruelties can only attack alone. However, if it gets teased out by our commander, That part doesn't matter at all. Whenever Master of Cruelties attacks a player and isn't blocked, that player's life total becomes 1. Master of Cruelties assigns no combat damage this combat. So if you tease it out with your commander, you don't have to concern yourself with whether it's attacking alone, because it got teased out already attacking. It skips that portion of it. And then if it hits for damage, then they only have 1 life. It's very nice. It's very nice, very janky. I love this tiny little combo piece with our commander. Nesting Dragon, 5-drop, 5/4 Dragon Flyer, landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, create a 0/2 red dragon egg creature token with defender. And when this creature dies, create a 2/2 red dragon creature token with flying. And red, this creature gets +1 until end of turn for power. Now, what's really nice about this is if you end up with a mass removal spell from your opponent and you have enough eggs out there, you're still going. You're still in the races. You got your horse in the game. Or should I say dragon? Yes, it's a dragon. All right, Razaketh, the Foul-Blooded. Also super expensive in terms of mana. It's flying, trample, pay 2 life, sacrifice another creature, search your library for a card, and put that card into your hand, then shuffle your library. And it's a nice 8/8 body. Again, teasing it out with our commander. Lovely. Raya Dawnbringer, also a huge mana cost, 4/6 flyer. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Whoo-wee, that is spicy. Runescarred Demon. Oh, just a nice little staple for this commander. It's a 6/6, 7-drop flying. Whenever Runescarred Demon enters the battlefield, search your library for a card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So nice little tutor built into a ferociously awesome body. Sephara Sky's Blade, 4 white, 7/7. You may pay white and tap 4 untapped creatures you control with flying rather than pay this spell's mana cost. Flying, lifelink, other creatures you control with flying have indestructible. So we're definitely doing the whole flying theme here. So this is going to come in very effective whether or not we're teasing it out with the commander. Villas, Broker of Blood, flyer, pay 2 life. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. Whenever you lose life, draw that many cards. So this is very nice utility, plus a gigantic 8/8 body. All right, we are into draw. Faithless Looting, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards, and you can flash it back. Necropotence, of course, you know, Necropotence is very useful. All right, and then we have Tainted Pact. Remove the top card of your library from the game. You may put that card into your hand unless it has the same name as another card removed this way. Repeat this process until you put a card into your hand or you remove 2 cards with the same name, whichever comes first. In simple terms for this kind of build, basically we're going to keep drawing until we want a card in our hand. That simple. All right, Wheel of Misfortune. This is out of Commander Legends. This is a very interesting one, very wordy. Let's go ahead and read it. Each player secretly chooses a number 0 or greater. Then all players reveal those numbers simultaneously and determine the highest and lowest numbers revealed this way. Wheel of Misfortune deals damage equal to the highest number to each player who chooses that number. Each player who didn't choose the lowest number discards their hand, then draws 7 cards. So just a very fun way to draw cards and to add a little spice into everyone's life. All right, now we have a little bit of removal in case we need some reset buttons. Damnation is one of them. Mass removal. We got Doomscar, mass removal with the Foretell, which is nice. It's got the Foretell. Put it for 2, face down, and then on any concurrent turns, you can play it for 3, or you can just play it outright for 5. And then we got Heliod Intervention to remove artifacts or enchantments, or in a pinch we can add life twice X. Then we have Sadistic Sacrament in removal. I just really like this card in whenever there's black available. Search target player's library for up to 3 cards, exile them, then that player shuffles his or her library if Sadistic Sacrament was kicked. Instead, search that player's library for up to 15. That's ridiculous. 15 cards. Give me a break. Exile them, then that player shuffles his or her library. So, I mean, the likelihood of you paying the kicker cost of 7 plus another 3 is probably very, very unlikely. And that would be super hilarious to like mill somebody late game because you just have mana sitting around, you top deck this, and then they have no more lands in their hand. I mean, no more cards in their library. But that's probably pretty unlikely. The regular way you play this is pretty janky and awesome. Wrath of God, another, removal, mass removal. All right, we are in ramp. We're going to ramp through this very quickly. All right, we got Arcane Signet, of course, any color of our commander. Cabal Ritual, add 3 to your mana pool, or if you have 7 cards in your graveyard, you can add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 black instead. We've got Chrome Mox with the imprint. When Chrome Mox comes into play, you may remove a non-artifact, non-land card in your hand from the game. Add 1 mana of any color imprinted card's color to the mana pool. Dark Ritual, of course, to add 3 black. Dockside Extortionist. When Dockside Extortionist enters battlefield, create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponents control. Tap those, crack those for any mana of your choice. Now, you've made it this far. I want you guys to put something in the comments. Just say, hey, we're still with you. We love you, man. We love you. Maybe not love. We like you, man. Jaska's Will, 3-drop. Choose one. If you control a commander as you cast a spell, you may choose both. Add red for each card in target opponent's hand. Exile top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn. So I really like the versatility of this card. It's a really nice way of doing some early game addition for mana ramp, or you can get some more cards out if you need to. Jeweled Lotus, of course, very swappable card. If you don't have it, you can sack it for 3 mana of any one color. But by all means, just swap this out for a Mind Stone or something else that you might have if you don't have a Jeweled Lotus. Don't go run out and buying one just because it's in this deck. All right, we got same with this one. Don't go running out buying this one if you don't have it. Mana Crypt, it's a 0-drop. It's a soul ring that costs you 3 damage if you lose a flip of a coin. Very, very great ramp. Rakdos Signet in the black-red arena. Got some signets going on here. Smothering Tithe, very nice. Staple in white, 4-drop. Whenever an opponent draws a card, that player may pay 2. If the player doesn't, you create a treasure token that you can crack. 4 mana. Soul Ring, of course. Talisman of Hierarchy in the white-black ilk. And then we got the other talisman in the black-red ilk. Necromancy. We are in graveyard. You may choose to play Necromancy as an instant. If you do, bury it at the end of turn. When you play Necromancy, choose target creature card in... I'm not even going to read through this. Basically, it's a reanimate. That's what it is. Sivin's Reclamation. Or is it Sivines? Tell me in the comments. It's a 3-drop. Return target permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. If this spell was cast from a graveyard, you may copy the spell and may choose a new target for the copy. And it's got the nice little flashback mechanic. Great way to just get stuff back into play. Underworld Breach, speaking of getting things back in, this is just a super janky card. Each non-land card in your graveyard has escape. The escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost plus exile 3 other cards from your graveyard. At the beginning of the end step, sacrifice Underworld Breach. So if you need to do a spell from your graveyard, this is a great way to do it. Animate Dead. So we can reanimate a creature. This one just gives its power -1. We're good with that. And that's any creature in any graveyard. All right, Leonin. Oh, this is the combo. Leonin Relic Warder. When Leonin Relic Warder enters the battlefield, you may exile target artifact or enchantment. When Leonin Relic Warder leaves the battlefield, return the exiled card to the battlefield under its owner's control. So this comboed up with Mayhem Devil, which is also comboed up with Animate Dead. That is an infinite combo that you can keep bouncing them all back and forth which then triggers this over and over again, which we can then hit the faces of our opponents. It's very janky, very awesome. So let's walk through this real quick. So you play Animate Dead, you put Leonin, warrior enters the battlefield, you may exile target artifact or enchantment, which is the Reanimate Dead. And then if you have Mayhem Devil, you sack it, and then it just goes round and round and round we go. So those 3 cards are a nice little combo piece for an OTK. All right, if you have any additional questions about the combos, just ask the questions in the comments below. All right, we have a nice little tiny ramp combo for mostly early game. As an additional cost to cast Kuldotha Rebirth, sacrifice an artifact, put 3 1/1 red goblin creature tokens on the battlefield. And then with Skirk Prospector, sacrifice goblin, add red to your mana pool. Yeah, pretty simple little combo, but you know, kind of fun. And then we have a tiny little life gain, life loss combo. If we have Children of Korlis out, sacrifice Children of Korlis, you gain life equal to the life you've lost this turn. You have that out, and you play Fire Covenant for 1 colorless red-black. Fire Covenant deals X damage divided any way you choose among any number of target creatures where X is equal to the amount of life you pay. Effects that prevent or redirect damage cannot be used to counter this loss of life. So you can really do some board wiping, and then afterwards you can crack Korlis and then get all that life back. Yes-sirree, Bob. All right, we got protection, and this is specifically for our commander. Equipped creature has haste and shroud. And of course, you can put it on another creature you have out there if your commander's not in play. Of course. All right, we got a couple little protection pieces. Teferi's protection. All of your permanents phase out and then come back in during your untap step. So can't lose the game, can't lose life. It's all good in the hood. All right, Entomb. It's sort of a combo piece. We got Entomb with Reanimate. It's more like a combo that, you know, doesn't end games or anything, but you search your library for a card and put the card into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. And of course, it only costs 1, which is pretty snazzy. So then you reanimate whatever you just dumped into your graveyard, and voila, off to the races again. Booyah, booyah, sock it to ya. All right, so we are full circle to Kaalia of the Vast. So this is a very, very fun, effective deck to play. You can certainly swap out some of the cohorts that you have in the deck if you don't have them, and you have others that are beefy, that are in the form of angels and demons and dragons. Oh my! And certainly you can swap out the lands for budgetary considerations, but this is a very solid, very fun way. You could also, if you want a little bit more removal, you could be adding things like, oh, I don't know, Murderous Rider, those kinds of cards that will give you creatures as well. So there's just lots of different swaps you can do. This is the build we went with. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with this. Enjoy. Make sure you hit like and subscribe, alerts, and thanks for checking it out. All right, check out the other episodes.